Welcome back, guys. This is the SBD Odds Pod. I'm Matt McEwan, joined by Frank Michael Smith. Frank, how you doing, buddy?
Matt, great to be here as always. I'm feeling great and I had a full weekend of football. Like I said last episode, if you don't have anything to do, what a great weekend to be locked in. I loved the 6-game format. Like I said, I was a little bit questionable on it. I want it every single year now. Amazing.
I'm totally with you. Whoever decided that we should add those games is a genius. I don't know why anybody thought adding games would be bad. Nudge,
we
nudge,
give Roger
Frank.
Goodell credit for something. Can we finally praise Goodell for something?
This might be it. Now, while we wanted to start this off with talking football and do our usual thing, but we are filming this Wednesday afternoon, and some big news just broke like 10 minutes prior to us getting on here. James Harden has been dealt. The Rockets traded him to the Brooklyn Nets. You'll have to check out. It's a huge package. They've given up a ton of picks. Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, bunch of picks, a bunch of players being sent. Harden teams up with the Nets. He's got KD, maybe Kyrie. We'll see when he returns. Frank, what do you think? I want to get your opinion on this first, because I'm going to say I don't love this trade. But what do you think?
Well, the first thing I thought was I was surprised. I thought for sure this move would be happening with Philadelphia. I thought Simmons would be going, but they must like what they see so far. And it probably didn't happen just because of the negative energy there between Morey and Rockets ownership.
Yeah.
But this is crazy. We don't know the exact specifics of this trade yet. It has come out that the Cavs are involved in a 3-way deal here. I think it's probably marginal, whatever they're getting in this deal, just a facilitator really.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. That's the best thing I can say about it. I don't love the fit with 3 guys who always have the ball in their hands, but I'm down to see it play out. Like, it's definitely more interesting this way.
I think entertaining is the the best word to describe what will come in Brooklyn. But so Frank, first of all, the Nets were an average of plus 550 to win the championship. They were trailing the Lakers, the Clippers, and also the Bucks, right, in the NBA futures. They are now as short as plus 270. The Lakers are plus 260. So Lakers plus 260, Nets plus 270. I have a bet on the Nets plus 600 to win the NBA championship. I put this in prior to the season. I really liked the KD Kyrie duo. I thought they had some really nice pieces around them too. I thought it could work. And I didn't really trust Giannis and the Bucks. Don't really love anybody else in the East, but I don't feel as good about this anymore, Frank. I mean, hey, I'm sitting on a great line, plus 600, while new updated lines are plus 270, but I don't feel great. I don't like Harden. I don't like this Harden fit. He's the guy who took all those shots in Houston in the playoffs, did not make them. You hear all this choke job Houston Rockets kind of stuff. That was James Harden. He was the one playing poorly, game 6, game 7 of these playoff series. Now right now he's out of shape. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. He's out of shape. He's looking big. And I mean, how long is it going to take him to get back into peak shape? Will he ever? I mean, does he really care to at this point? And just how does this fit? What does this mean for Kyrie? Like, is this the end potentially of Kyrie in Brooklyn? Because I don't like that swap. I don't like KD and Harden as much as I liked KD and Kyrie. So I got to be honest, Frank, I don't like this as much. As much as it looks great for what the current odds are, I don't like my futures bet as much anymore.
Well, it's interesting, and I want to go back.
Talk me off this cliff.
I can't. I can't talk you off the cliff, but I will say it's contingent upon a number of things that you mentioned. Number one being Kyrie. I'm not talking about the betting number here, the plus 260 or 270, whichever one you said. It's contingent upon Kyrie coming back, which who knows? I mean, it's possible that he gets cut. It's possible that he has COVID. I mean, who knows? He is a gigantic question mark. Like you said before the podcast, he could be on a Himalayan cleanse retreat right now for all we know. Like, who knows with Kyrie? Also,
hey, to each their own. But it doesn't bode well for my futures bet.
No, it does not. You want him there. Harden getting in shape, that is possible. We saw Draymond a couple of years lose 20 pounds, in lieu of the playoffs. Yeah, so that is possible. He could do it. I definitely think he cares enough. And then it's contingent upon these guys working together. We've seen these big threes come together, and it doesn't always work. There's no guarantee
takes them like
here.
20-ish games to start feeling that chemistry together, right? Like it's not just an instant, hey, here we go. This is like an all-star game, right?
Hey, you know who really won in this trade though? And I just thought of this: Spencer Dinwiddie. If there was ever a time to get injured and not get dealt to Cleveland or Houston, wow, what an injury by Spencer Dinwiddie. He gets to stay now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, well that's I just want to throw up the NBA futures there. Frank, any final thoughts? Like I said, I'm not feeling great, but any final word on this trade before we jump back into our NFL? Yeah.
We'll come back to it on a later pod. Let's do NFL. We got a big wild card weekend coming up. Just action packed. This is probably my favorite weekend of the year. I'm sad my Steelers aren't in it.
Can I stop you there? Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
What the hell was that, Frank?
Well,
I mean, hey, this wasn't your fault.
No, definitely not.
You're the guy I'm asking these questions to.
I wasn't the only one with Steelers money line everywhere. I think a lot of people had that.
Well, I doubled down. The moment that we found out Kevin Stefanski was not coaching this game, I looked and said, this is the guy who calls their offensive plays. I preached all last week on this SBD odds pod that Kevin Stefanski matters. And then the Steelers, and this isn't to say he doesn't now, but the Steelers
he might
let
not
him off the hook.
It's certainly possible he might not.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely that certainly took a hit, right? That idea took a hit for sure. But the Steelers just laid an egg. I mean, you give up that touchdown on the first play, that snap, which brought back horrible memories for me, just for the record, as a Broncos fan.
That's the first thing I thought of too. It's the only time I'd ever seen that before.
But I mean, what was that? What happened in that first half? And I mean, what is Tomlin thinking? Twice on fourth down, short yardage situations, you're down big and they opt to punt. The first one, hey, like it's like you could kind of make the argument it's early in the game, whatever. But that second opportunity, fourth and short, and they were down at least. I think they were still down 2 scores at that point. And he punts. I don't know. That was just a poor effort on everybody's part. And that to me, that was the disappointment of Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's my thoughts on it. Okay. The Steelers didn't come prepared to play. Tomlin didn't come prepared to coach, clearly. That's never been Tomlin's strength. He's terrible at managing the clock. He's really, really bad at these in-game decisions. That's not what he does. Tomlin has some things he's good at. Those just aren't them. I've never seen Marquise Pouncey blow up a snap like that. I mean, that's the worst snap I've ever seen in my life.
And that's a vet too. Like that's like an all-pro.
Oh yeah. I'm aware. It makes it hurt even more. This was just a really, really bad game that I'm going to try and forget about. This is almost as bad as the Tim Tebow, your Broncos beating me in overtime. This is worse than that, actually. I mean, it's been a really bad 10-year run for the Steelers, and it's time for Ben to move on. He's had a great career. I love him. We're both alumni of Miami University. That's my guy. You know what? It's time. He had a great career. It's time to hang it up. I'm excited to see what direction the Steelers go in, but I'm still disgusted.
The only thing from Wild Card Weekend that upset me nearly this much, actually, I shouldn't say the only. There's 2. One more real quick one. Taylor Heineke, man. I loved the under in that
Heineke,
Bucks
right?
football team
Heineke
game.
Or Heineke?
Heineke. I should learn his name. I think I've tried to block him out because of what he did to my bankroll. I loved the under. Once it was revealed that Alex Smith was not playing, I pounced on that under hard. And oh my gosh, he put on a show. But the other one, Frank, the bad beat of the week, and fortunately I didn't suffer this one. But I mean, anytime one of these things comes up, I got a feel for everybody out there. Bears plus 10.5. Some people had them at plus 11. They lose 21-9, but that final play of the game, Jimmy Graham hauls in that touchdown and brings it to 21-9. If they kick the extra point, at least people that are plus 11 get the push. But I mean, hey, if there's a little time left on the clock, they go for 2. You've got the chance for the cover both ways, right? But no, they changed this rule a couple of years ago, and if it's meaningless, they do not attempt a PAT. And that was hard.
Well, you have the option. You have the option to not attempt it.
Is it the option? So
why? I have definitely seen teams kick this before.
But was it meaningful? And was there time on the clock?
No. I think I could be wrong on this, but I feel like more people would have known this rule, because I believe what it's saying is if it's not meaningful, you have the option not to kick. You can just take it to the locker room. So, we may have to get a fact check on that. But regardless,
we'll have to fact check.
One of the worst beats of all time. Fortunately, my bet was already dead in the water well before this. We mentioned on last pod, this is not a game that I really had a strong feeling about. And I wanted some action. So I did what any bettor does. And I go in and I make a little teaser right before the game. I get the Saints and I grab the over. Why did I grab the over? Because it's more fun, of course. This is a classic betting mistake. And I told myself that I would never bet on this Bears offense again. Now, was I really betting on the Bears offense? No, I wasn't betting on their team total or anything, but I did need them to score more than 9 points. And once
you needed them to hold up their end.
Once Mims dropped that touchdown, it was over. I knew it was over, right? Not over, but you know what I'm saying. It was done. Yeah. And God, that hurt. And I deserve to lose that.
Fortunately, the only action I had on that game, as I said last week, I put and I want to make this very clear. I put a very small money line bet against the Saints last week. This was not a bet for the Bears. I mean, as Frank said, I'm not in the business of betting on Mitchell Trubisky, but I did put a small bet against the Saints. I am saying the same thing, just for the record. And that was the same thing. It was over early. I knew the Bears weren't winning that game. Like you said, once Wims dropped that touchdown, they had no more shot. What about wins though, Frank? Frank, how did your first ever wild card 6-team teaser do?
Well, I think I
know the answer, but
you know what? I would have led the pod with this had I won.
I figured.
I was looking great. I will say I won Saturday. We were looking good. We were 3-3. The inaugural 6-team NFL wildcard weekend teaser did not hit. We said the one we didn't like the most was that over 48. That didn't hit. But you know what?
In the Titans, or sorry, which one?
Yes, that was Baltimore.
Yes, the Titans-Ravens game. Yeah,
that didn't hit. I did win Baltimore in that game, which was looking terrible. But anyway, sometimes it is nice as a gambler to not lose by 1. So if you want to look at any silver lining of the Steelers losing that game and making 2 losses to the 6-team teaser, that was it.
Thank you, Pittsburgh. Yeah, no, I had a couple. We nailed the Rams money line there last week, Frank. That one felt good. We got that at plus 160, and I went with, like I said, the more cowardly, the more intelligent teaser. I had Bills Bucks, so I hit that. Those were 2 nice wins for me. Any other wins for you?
I'm trying to think. There wasn't many. It was not a good week.
You got to think. Yeah, it's.
You have to think it's probably good, no. Yeah, I think I hit a prop bet or 2. Nothing really. I you know what, Matt? I'm looking for a big comeback this weekend, and I feel good.
There you go. I like that. I see that look in your eye. It's you look motivated. I like it. You know what? My week was really softened by those 2. I love the Steelers and I love the under in that Tampa Bay Washington. I hit a lot of my bets this week. Again, a lot of the anytime touchdowns. I had AJ Brown, Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins. I think I went like 3 of 5 on my anytime scores, but like I said, those 2 really, really harmed me. So let's move to divisional round. We got 4 games coming up this week. Frank, where do you want to start?
Let's start.
Go in order here.
Yeah, let's go in order.
Okay, first up, we have the Los Angeles Rams heading into Green Bay, take on the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, the likely 2020 NFL MVP. Packers, depending where you look, they're laying 6.5, 7 points. Total set at 45.5. What do you like here, Frank?
I like Green Bay. I'm not willing to deal with this whole Jared Goff thing again. I'm surprised that he didn't throw a pick last weekend. That's what he does best, at least recently. And this Green Bay defense is good. Are they the best defense in the league, like Devontae Adams said? No, they're not. But they are going to be at home. It is going to be cold for a team that plays in Los Angeles. I like Goff to throw his pick or two and them to cover this number. Especially, I like it that it's not over a score. A touchdown, that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, and this is another one too. This is if you're sitting at 7 at your sports book, can't find it 6.5. This is a pretty popular number to tease here too, right? Get it through 7, get it through 3 as well. And especially, if this number gets driven up to 7.5, which doesn't look like it's going to, but this is kind of the golden teaser right here. Public money right now, Frank. We've got this is the public's pick of the week. Just for the record, this is the most lopsided spread money right here. 86%
Jeez.
of the money on this game is coming.
Well, how'd that go last week with Buffalo? Not well.
No, it did not go well at all. And this is, I mean, Frank, you said it multiple times. This is why people fade the public, right? 86%. That is a whopping number. I don't know. So just for the record, my SBD score predictor, which again, that's what gave us Rams money line last week. It had a pretty nice week. I think it went 4-2 against the spread, maybe 5-1. I'll double check that before we end this, but this has a Rams cover. It has Green Bay winning 22.5 to 18.7. So it's close, but it's got a Rams cover. I'm leaning Green Bay. Did you see the picture of Jared Goff's thumbs when he was sitting on the sideline last week?
I haven't. We'll have to put it on the screen here.
Looking on at his two thumbs, and his right thumb is like double in it, like the size of his left one.
I don't like healthy Jared Goff. I mean, this is like, I can't torture myself like this. This is the same thing with Mitch Trubisky. If I, like for my own sanity, if he were to go down 2 scores in the first half in this game and I had money on Jared Goff, I just couldn't let myself live that down.
No. And that's, to be honest, like here's another kind of bold take that I felt last week when John Wolford got hurt last week. I did not feel good about my Rams money line bet. I did not like Jared Goff coming into this game. I don't know how bold that is, but I liked my chances better with John Wolford at quarterback. And do we have official word yet on who is starting? I think McVay's playing this one close to heart again. But
I'm assuming it's Goff. It looked pretty serious for Wolford.
Yeah. Wolford did not practice. As of right now, no update, but definitely. I mean, anytime a guy's literally stretchered to the hospital mid-game, I have a hard time feeling good about him playing this week. So yeah, definitely I'm with you. And with that in mind, the Rams running game is going to have to save them here. And I don't know that they will be able to, especially with Goff's potential inability to really push the ball down the field. I think Green Bay is going to match up well in the secondary, and they'll really sell out to stop Cam Akers. I got to go Green Bay here, but I will say I don't love this play. This is a teaser for me. I'm teasing. I'm actually doing a same game teaser here as well. I've already locked this one in. I've got Packers -1. I got this at 7, and I took the over 39.5. So I think the Rams are going to be able to run the ball enough early in the game while it's still close. But I think Aaron Rodgers, he gets rid of the ball too quickly right now. And as great as Aaron Donald is, I don't think they're gonna get to Aaron Rodgers very well in Green Bay. They have too many weapons, and I know they don't have a ton of receiving weapons, but you look at Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. I mean, these guys are great pass catching backs, and Devontae Adams is too good. I love Jalen Ramsey, and he's been fantastic, but I gotta that's where I'm going here. What's you're just playing the spread here, Frank?
Well, that same game teaser sounds tasty. I might have to dabble in that. Don't tempt me with the same game teaser.
That's my play. That's my play. Okay. So we got next game up. We have the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills right now. So this one, we've seen a bit of movement here, Frank. This opened at Buffalo -3. It was all the way down to Buffalo -2 as of yesterday. It's now, depending where you look, it's 2.5 still Buffalo. But we've got some weather concerns here. That's kind of the big narrative right now. A lot of people are a little concerned, potential for snow, a little bit of wind. The again, public heavy on the favorite here. You got 70% of the money on the Bills. What do you like here, Frank?
Well, I did see something this morning on Instagram that said it was a Lamar Jackson quote where he said, if we do play in snow, that'll be my first game ever in snow. So I hope it don't snow. It's Buffalo in January. I would bet it snows. I'm no weatherman, but I like the Bills anyway.
Yeah.
I think this team's hungry. I think they're on a mission. I don't really like what I saw from Baltimore last week. That run from Lamar Jackson was absolutely incredible. One of the best runs I've ever seen in my life. If they don't have that play, they don't win the game. And I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to make a play like that again this week. I like
especially
Buffalo.
in the snow, in potential slick field, right? Like
exactly. I want to ride with Buffalo here, and this is not something I'm basing off of any numbers. This is something I'm basing off of. I believe they're on a mission. I believe this team is locked in, and they're ready to compete, and they're going to be a better team, and the number's not high enough for me to take Baltimore. So Buffalo, book it.
Nice. I like it. So just for the record, my formula here, the SBD score predictor, sportsbettingdime.com, just for the record, this is calling for a Baltimore upset. And I got to say, I'm fading my formula here. It's been great to me all year, but you know what? The wind concern, I don't think is a major concern here. What you really have to watch for here, to me, is a crosswind. Like look at the direction of the wind in the stadium. If we get a really heavy crosswind, okay, I'll start kind of worrying about that wind. But Josh Allen has arguably the strongest arm in the league. I mean, you look at him and Patrick Mahomes as having the two strongest arms, and they throw both of them, and Allen especially, very tight spirals. So if it's just a wind at his back or a wind in his face, I'm not as concerned. He's got the arm and the ball to cut through that wind. So that doesn't concern me. If we start getting heavy crosswinds, sure, I'll listen then. And most of the people who are talking weather in this game are looking at it as, this gives a major advantage to Baltimore. I don't know that I see it that way. It's not calling for major snow. The narrative here, Frank, is that, hey, the Ravens can run the ball. The Bills' run defense isn't great. The Bills can't run the ball. Baltimore's defense is good, right? That's kind of the narrative going on here. But I don't think a little bit of snow is going to slow down this Bills' offense. I know, they're probably without Zach Moss this week, but I think they're too hot. They just, hey, you can look at what happened last week. The Colts played them tight, but that's a very good Colts team. Like that's a double-digit win team. Very few wins in the playoffs come easy. They felt in control of that game for the vast majority of it. I like, in their second game in the playoffs this year, I think the offense will continue to kind of ramp it up. Stephon Diggs is uncoverable in my mind. I'm going with Bills -2.5. I like that here. And you know what? Again, barring weather, I really like the over in this game too. The total's only set at 50 right now. And big reason there is the weather concerns. If this is clear, no snow, I love this over. I'm sure you'll see this number start really ramping up. But even with a bit of snow, I still like this over.
I will say this. We know the snow does one thing, and that means it's going to make Lamar Jackson slower. So let's not overcomplicate things here. That's not good for Baltimore. Okay, that's bad. Anytime you see a spread this small in divisional playoffs, I think it's going to be a really close game, and I think that'll hold true for this one. I'm actually going to go a step further here. I'm going to predict overtime. Okay, I'm going with overtime, and I like that 2.5. I like the Bills kicking a field goal in the snow in overtime, winning by that hook. And I don't know what the overtime prop is, but I'm guessing it's pretty high. I'm going to sprinkle it.
You generally get at least like 12-1 on a game going to overtime. So
I'm sprinkling.
I like it. I like it. Hey, that's bold. That's uber specific, and I'm here for it. Okay, third game. Moving on to Sunday. First game on Sunday, we got the Cleveland Browns at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs laying, again, depending where you look, 9.5, 10. Over under here, 56.5. Frank, what are you feeling?
Well, now that we have Kevin Stefanski back, I feel really good. He clearly makes a big difference for this team. I can't wait to see Stefanski out there. Without him, this line's at 17. Obviously, I'm joking. I can't believe, that was even a talking point last week. It sounds ridiculous now. But I've thought long and hard about this game, especially after seeing them just dismantle the Steelers in that first half. Here's what I think. I think that it's going to be closer than people think. I do like the Browns with the points because I think if they score first, they can actually protect this lead. They can really run the ball. I can't believe they have Hunt and Chubb. Especially when you compare it to the Steelers running backs, you see we're trotting out Connor there, slow feed. And yeah, can we get a running back, please? Come on. This is crazy. Those guys are sick. I'm not totally sold on the Chiefs run game. Hilaire's been shaky. I think this is a close game. I do think the Chiefs gutted out. This isn't a crazy take here. They've played a lot of teams close in the second half of the season. I know they are rested and Andy Reid's great off the bye week, but I'm seeing a close game. I like the Browns with the points. Yeah, pull that up.
That's the tough one. That's the tough one. The Andy Reid coming off a bye. He's like 18-3 or something coming off a bye.
Is that ATS or is that money line?
That's straight up. We'll have to look up. You know what? We'll look that up. We'll tweet that out to you. Check out at SBD on Twitter. We'll get that. We'll dig up that stat for you because I know that's one that everybody's talking about, and I'll get to a trend in a little bit that I chose to look into a little further here. And my reasoning for not looking too much into this one is simply I'm with you, Frank. I think this Cleveland offense is very dangerous. I mean, it seems at this point Baker Mayfield wakes up feeling dangerous every day. My formula here is calling for a Cleveland cover, not super tight. It's got 30.6 to 21.3, so a slight cover. And the public here, Frank, is actually backing the Browns.
Oh,
got
kidding me.
58% of the money. Yeah, I know. Way to spoil your pick here, eh? Just tell you the public's on it too.
I'm okay with 58. That's not too bad. It's
not too bad. Pretty split here. 58% on the Browns against the spread. I think it's too many points. I do. If the Browns are able to run the ball early in this game, which I think they will, I think they'll be able to. You've got the whole Kareem Hunt revenge game happening here. I like the Chiefs to win this game. I think they do, but I don't love laying this many points. I think Cleveland really showed us a lot last week. This to me is it's a touchdown game. I feel, but yeah, I like Cleveland to hang around. Kansas City's defense isn't anything special to me this year, so I'm taking the points here as well. And on to the last game here, Frank. We got the Bucks at the Saints. 57% of the money on the Bucks, Frank. We got the public is betting 2 underdogs this week. That is very rare. You really only see it. So 50% of the games, they're going with the dogs. Generally, Frank, and I speak with the latter half of the regular season in mind. The public was betting maybe like 1 or 2 dogs per week of 16 games, 14 to 16 games per week. Half the games this week, they're on the dogs, and this being one. Bucks, Saints. What are you thinking here, Frank?
Well, speaking of revenge games, we have even bigger revenge game. This was a game that I lost miserably earlier in the season. I mean, that was just really, really, really bad what the Saints did to the Bucks on primetime television. This is a hard spot to bet against Brady, and I think that's why the public's on it. People have been watching football for the last 20 years. We know what this guy does in the playoffs, And teams don't like it when they get embarrassed. This team seems, they didn't show me a lot last week, not enough, but they do seem like they're, in position to make this a close game. And this is a Brady bet for me. As a Steelers fan who's been burned by Brady so many times in the playoffs, I'm gonna run it back, even though
don't want it to happen again.
I'm gonna have to run it back. And if I go down with betting on Tom Brady, I can handle that. So yeah, I'm riding with the public.
Well, hey, my formula is with you. This is the tightest I have ever seen this formula predicted game. It's saying 23.6 to 23.5. We have a 0.1 difference in the score here. Bucks upset. And I'll tell you what, though, Frank, I'm fading it. I'm fading it again here. And the thing that has frustrated me the most this week so far is all the people who have told me how difficult it is to beat a team 3 times in the same season. Now, Frank, you've heard this too, right? You've heard people talking this way. And I get it. I get the Brady factor. I get all this. Sure. But let me tell you something. Since 1970, there have been 21 opportunities for a team to beat another one 3 times in the same season. I'll give you one guess, Frank. How many times has it come through? How many times has that team of 21 attempts, how many times has there been 3 straight victories?
I'm going to say the team going for 3-0 is somewhere right around like 55%.
67%.
Wow.
It is not difficult to beat a team 3 times in the same season, according to the numbers, and this is, so next time you hear your friend say this, I mean, please cite this number, cite the SBD odds pod. We've got the numbers for you here. You can bring it up. 21 times. It's happened 14 of those 21. Most recently, it came up in the 2017-18 playoffs. The Saints, again, going for a third win in the same season, not over the Bucks, though, it was over the Panthers this time, came through for them. And if we want to look even more recently here, Frank, because early on, back, ages ago, when they started tracking this, that's when a lot of the stops happened. That's when a lot of the teams, preventing the 3 straight victories came through. If we look just recently, 3 straight, the last 3 times that this has come up, it's happened. The team has won that 3rd game as well and swept 3-0. And 7 of the last 9, it's happened. So,
well, let's use some common sense here. Should it really be that shocking that if you've already proved you can beat a team twice, you can do it a 3rd time? I mean,
that's exactly it.
Right?
That's exactly my point. I don't know where we get this. I don't know where we get this idea of it's so hard to beat a team for the 3rd time. Like, no. If you beat them twice, and let me tell you, beat them handily, right? Like, game 1 was 34-23 New Orleans. Game 2 was 38-3 New Orleans, where the Saints were up 31-0 at halftime. Right. So this isn't a matter of, hey, the Saints squeaked by with a couple field goals. They very easily handled this Bucks team. So that's exactly the point here, Frank. I don't know where we get this idea that it's so hard to beat a team for that 3rd time. I'm betting the Saints here. Like this, I think this line is absurd. I think this is strictly everyone loving Tom Brady and thinking he's the golden boy, he's the GOAT. He never loses in the playoffs. Well, I'll tell you what, he lost in the playoffs last year. And
he's lost in the playoffs a lot of times. He just goes every year.
He has, I mean, you look at that performance against Washington last week. Yeah, like, you know what? The offense rolled. I'll say that. But the Tampa Bay defense did not look good. So, I mean, I know everyone's talking, the Bucs have looked so great last 5 weeks. Look at their schedule. Look at the teams they played. Okay, they haven't played great teams. When they play great teams, they lose. And when they play the Saints, they lose. When they play the Saints for the 3rd time, they're going to lose again. This spread should be 6.5, 7. The fact that it is down, we're looking at like 2.5, 2.5, 3. This is ridiculous. I love the Saints this week. This is my bet of the week. I've locked it in. Easy bet for me.
That was a really tough rant to handle. I'm really second guessing my bet now. I mean, this is not good for me. I will say though, we're not even we haven't even mentioned the fact that the Saints are at home. That 67% number you gave out, I'm betting it gets even better if you consider all the games, the teams that were going for that third win at home. You know what? I'm not switching my pick, but I don't really feel good about it anymore after hearing that.
Hey, I like you sticking with your gut. I mean, that's what you're here to do, right? No, I really love this game. I love the Saints. I cannot believe that this spread opened like this. Like I said, it's the Tom Brady factor, and I don't know that should still exist. I don't feel it should still exist. I'm all over the Saints -3. Those are the four games we've covered there. Frank, is there any one that you really love more than the rest? Like I said, the Saints are my bet of the week. This is who I am. This is my ride or die right here. Who's your bet of the week?
I really wish Baltimore wasn't playing Buffalo because Baltimore has just been so good to me. I'm gonna have to send Lamar Jackson like a late Christmas gift or something.
Gift basket,
yeah, something. I mean, he's like one of those like edible arrangements, maybe. Who knows?
Well, maybe send him a hand warmer for this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's something. Maybe some like new Nike cleats or some technology. Really dig in there. Something, man. Like they've been so good to me. They've covered. I'm guessing on this, but it seems like the last 5 or 6 weeks in a row, and I've bet them every single week. So I feel really bad not taking them and not rewarding them in this game versus Buffalo. I wish they weren't playing them. I feel the best about Green Bay.
Okay, just for the record, the Ravens have covered seven games in a row. That is
I've bet at least 6 of those. It's been the bright spot of my betting season.
They've been very kind. They've been very kind to their bettors. Okay, so you're on the Packers. That's your bet of the week, eh? No faith in Jared Goff.
None.
I love it. Frank. Anything else for you? Divisional round? Any other bets you're making? Any props you like?
Well, here's what I won't be doing. I won't be doing the first touchdown score because I did bet that in the Steelers game. And lo and behold, the first touchdown score was some dude on the Cleveland defense. So I had James Conner to punch one in for the first score of the game. I'm going to do what you do, and I'm going to make a couple anytime scores because I can't get burned on a snap over someone's head when I do that. I don't have those picks locked in yet, but just like the other thing, we're going to tweet them out.
Nice. Yeah, no, I've been trying to kind of preach that to you there, Frank. It's too unpredictable. The first touchdown score is so unpredictable. Like you said, you get a defensive touchdown. The anytime for me is where it's at. That's where the value is. I mean, the first right away, your chances are cut in half based off who gets the ball first, right? You have no idea. So for me, I stick with the anytimes. Yeah, I'll be putting out my props later this week. Other content you can find over at sportsbettingdime.com this week that I think will be very valuable to you. One, we are going to be covering that weather in the Bills Ravens game. So make sure you watch that. We'll break that down.
That crosswind.
Yeah, exactly. We'll tell you what the weather, what effect it's going to have on the odds and everything like that. But we've also got injury reports for every game. We got some ATS picks for you, game previews, props. We got it all. So check out sportsbettingdime.com for all your NFL playoffs coverage. And hey, like we mentioned early in the show here, we don't just do NFL, right? We've got NBA. So make sure you check out NBA championship tracker that we've got crazy movement from the Nets there. But that's all from me, Frank. Any parting words?
Yeah, I do want to give some advice. One more thing on the Nets. You said this before we came on the pod. If you do want the Nets still, if you're still locked in, give it some time. Wait a week or two. That number will probably shoot back up to about 350, I think you said. So, just be patient on that.
That's a good point, Frank. Please do not bet the Nets at plus 270 right now. There is no way that their probability of winning the championship should be anywhere close to the Lakers right now. Let alone a dime away, right? So hold out. If you love this Harden trade, please hold out. Give it a week, give it 2 weeks. As Frank said, it's going to come up. It's going to come up plus 350, plus 400. They're going to lose some games. And I mean, hey, Harden, there's a good chance Harden doesn't look great. There's going to be some growing pains. And if there's not, they're not going to get much shorter than plus 270 anyways. That's about it. Like you know how dominant the Lakers have been, and they're only plus 260. So there's no way it's getting much shorter than this. Very good chance this gets longer. That's a good one, Frank.
Absolutely. We'll catch you guys next week for the conference championships. Maybe there'll only be 2 games, so maybe throw some more NBA in again. We appreciate everybody listening. Please throw a rating on there if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the pod. Catch us on YouTube for all the snippets, Sports Betting Dime, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.